Welcome into TWMP Daily. This week we are bringing you a member of Congress every day at 10 a.m. Here, Jake Croson. Thank you for making the
Of
time.
course, Scott.
And today we are joined by my congressman, Congressman Jason Smith from Southeast Missouri. Congressman, thank you so much for making the time.
It's great to be with you as always, Scott.
Well, I have to say, I understand everybody that watches this is going to have their own opinion. I do have to say, overall, it would appear as though you have thus far won this shutdown.
You know, the American people have all lost. So I
Yeah.
don't think one party can say that either one of them won. It was an unnecessary shutdown. What the Democrats agreed to with Leader Thune is exactly what he recommended before the government shutdown, and they said absolutely no. Scott, this is the first time in the history of America that one party has ever shut down government by the refusal to allow a vote on just a continuation of funding. That's never happened until this point. And what did they do it for? That's the question. They did it for Chuck Schumer because he's looking in his rearview mirror for political reasons.
That is a take that is obviously a Republican take from somebody in the thick of the fight. But I actually think that that is the take that has been the conventional wisdom amongst the American public. These things are political endeavors. There are ups and downs to them. There's different sides. But I do think at the end of the day, most folks view this as Democrats needing to throw a fit. They hate Trump so deeply. I saw this somewhat with Republicans and Barack Obama, but it was nothing like what you're seeing now with the hatred of Trump. And it's almost like they value not so much their ideas or their accomplishments. I think there's a very dangerous thing happening with Democrats where they only value how much you hate Donald Trump.
You know, I've had conversations with President Trump, and he understands the Trump derangement syndrome and how much the Democrats hate him. At one point, I told him, I was like, Mr. President, whatever you want, say the opposite that you support, and the Democrats will end up supporting what you want. And we laugh about that, but with my colleagues, it is unreal of how they used to be for tariffs. Now they're
Oh
against them
my
because
gosh,
Trump's
yeah.
for tariffs, and you can go just line by line.
This guy Dick Gephardt, who represented a chunk of what you represent now, his whole life was fighting for tariffs, and the Democrat Party right behind him. Trump is for them, and everybody realigns. It is a bizarre situation.
We're in crazy times. Politics is truly changing. Parties have changed quite drastically over the years. The Republican Party, without a doubt, Scott, and I've been saying this for a long time, we're the party of the working class. You look at the district that we represent, that you're from in Southeast Missouri, these are working class Americans who are conservative. They are the base of what the Republican Party is today.
You know, it's funny. I have a teenage daughter, and I've come to learn with boys, if I really don't like one, I just say he's the greatest thing ever. And if one of them isn't too objectionable, I'm like, oh, God, you've got to break up with him today. Uh, so,
Sounds like you're doing the Trump approach. So it's
well, I'm trying
working
to
out pretty
take
well.
your approach that Trump should take, which I think is actually kind of spot on. So with the shutdown, how long will this? How long is the government funded before you have to risk another one of these? Because look, I mean, there's two things. I don't know that many folks in Ellington have missed the government so far. I think they were about to, frankly, but I think it's kind of odd. You can go; these things are becoming somewhat common. You can go 2-3 weeks, and it's kind of probably a little scary how few people are really significantly impacted. But boy, it is no way to run a country. This is no way. This is no way to carry ourselves as a nation. It's no way to for the most powerful country in the world to behave. And two, you were bumping up on air traffic controllers. You were bumping up on SNAP payments. Those are things that real folks somewhere in Fredericktown might have started to notice.
It's exactly right. 670,000 Missourians would have been affected by the SNAP issues. You look at the air traffic controllers. That has a huge impact.
Yeah.
You look at the FSA offices in Southeast Missouri. That has a huge impact on our farmers.
Yes.
We had farmers contacting our office, Scott, that they needed just an FSA officer to sign their check so they could put it in the bank, which was rightfully due to them. And so it's just unnecessary harm to Americans. We are the greatest country of all time. We should be able to fund government. We should be able to work together. And whenever you're doing anything in Washington, you have to give and take. I mean, I'd love to
Yeah.
have my way all the time, but that's just not how it works.
Tell me, how long is the government, if I guess, first of all, where things stand right now with what the Senate did, is this something the House will pass?
Absolutely. The Senate passed it last night. We'll be voting on it on Wednesday because of the House rules that it
Hmm.
requires at least 2 legislative days. I'll be flying to Washington D.C. Right whenever I get off this interview, but the House will get it done. I don't think many Democrats in the House will support it. Leader Jeffries has came out clear that he's opposed to it, that they didn't receive anything, and it's just madness. It's madness. It's
So,
all about the leverage that they had on working families to keep the government shut down.
how long is the government funded for with the thing that passed the Senate last night?
What passed the Senate last night has a continuation of funding for 9 different appropriations bills until January 30th. 3 appropriation bills are included in that, and that is Ag, Milcon, and Congress, which is funded until September 30th fully. So those are true 3 appropriations bills that have been included in there. So the continuation of funding till January 30th is for a portion of government, which is 9 other appropriations bills, and hopefully in that time frame there can be an agreement in moving forward. I hope that everyone's learned their lesson and that the last thing we need is another government shutdown when it comes in February.
I saw something that would be very good for folks in Willow Springs in this. This is a pack of gummy nerd clusters, right? You could tell by the size of my gut, I've had a few of these, especially coming off Halloween. I've got a pack of Airheads around here somewhere else. But these are not what you're thinking are gummy clusters. These are actually drugs. This is marijuana or some chemical equivalent that's stuck in these and sold. This one is sold 4 blocks from the Attorney General's office. Attorney General Bailey has taken this on full brunt. Secretary Hanaway, or now Attorney General Hanaway, has taken this on. Now Donald Trump has weighed in. And the current ag bill, right, will get rid of some of these drugs that are being sold in gas stations that are absolutely made to look like candy.
It's exactly right. It fixes the loophole that was in the process that some bad actors have been able to create candy that is laced with basically what you're saying,
This right here.
drugs. So
4
yeah,
blocks from the Attorney General's
exactly
office, I
right.
bought this.
Which is unacceptable. It is in this bill to fix that loophole. That's definitely getting a lot of conversation, and it's one of the things that people's been advocating for some time.
Contrary to what a lot of the people that are in that industry are saying, though, I mean, Senator McConnell last night said that it's still preserved, that the hemp or the farm bill is still preserving the core function of the hemp industry. So it's not going to affect any actual hemp growers, will it?
No, the hemp industry is very vibrant in our congressional district, and they do it right. They're licensed, they're
Yeah.
under the whole process through the Missouri state rules. This is not going to affect them. What's going to affect is the bad actors that's been using a loophole within the system.
I got to take 1 minute and think a good actor. Check this Stein out right here. Phil Amato, believe your constituent up in Jefferson County got this from me. Representative, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. A good pull on Stein of knowledge and make an interview go a little better. Congressman, I'll never forget you at Donald Trump's debate against Hillary Clinton. The whole world, the Billy Bush tape had come out. A ton of folks had turned their back on Donald Trump. Not you. It was quite lonely for you in the spin room after that debate. You did not have a lot of folks with you defending Donald Trump. You were in that room. You're an OG Donald Trump, MAGA, America First guy, just like I think your district is. However, I saw something that was not all that America First lately. The president came out, and for some reason, we're propping up some, I think the president would call it a shithole country in South America, buying all these worthless pesos, which I don't understand all that, I'll be honest with you. That's probably above my level of intellect. But then I do know cattle prices are finally up. All the money that cattle producers have lost, they're finally on the up curve of that. He talked about buying Argentinian beef. Well, that struck me as not in line with America First.
So, Scott, good memory. I have been a loyal supporter and friend of President Trump since the very beginning, back in 2015-16 when he was running for office. And without a doubt, I talk to him quite often. I either text or talk to him on every few days. Which is quite amazing that it's the president of the United States and you're able to talk to. And these cattle prices has been something that I
Boy
have
from
been
Salem
weighing
talking
in.
to the president all the time. That's awesome.
But these cattle prices have been something we've been weighing in with the president. When he sent out the initial conversation and the tweet about purchasing the Argentinian beef and lowering the price of beef in the grocery store, I went and spoke with him several times, along with other colleagues of mine in the House and Senate, to talk about the real issue. You need to look at those meat packers, the four meat packers, which make up 85% of all the processing. It was crazy when the president made his comments. You saw cattle prices plummet, but you saw box meat prices increase, and that is what directly affects the people in the stores. We want lower cost of everything, but we don't need to gut the farmers, and we need to make sure that the packers aren't making excessive profits when it comes to that control. And out of those four,
well,
meat
call them out,
packers,
right? If they because the Packers have been making money since COVID, obscene money. You're only now seeing the guys that are actually growing the cattle and selling the cattle making money.
It's exactly right. I am so thankful that on Friday, the president issued a Truth Social post and a tweet that said that he's called on the Department of Justice to investigate the meat packers and the price setting that he's seen. This is something that I've been talking to him for weeks about, and I'm glad that he is delivering on that promise.
Mike Deering was on here last week, and he told us, he's like, well, it's not really that big a deal, frankly. He goes, it sounds worse than it is, but it does sound like maybe the president's listened to you and some other folks, and I haven't seen him out pimping for Argentinian beef since that first one. Maybe since y'all started talking to him.
Yeah, and the amount of being purchased of Argentinian beef is very, very small to what we actually consume. We consume about 12 million tons of beef in the United States, and that was 80,000 metric tons. Very, very small. We already import about 2 million metric tons of beef through all different countries, just because we're not able to produce enough from that level. However, Argentina is an extremely important nation for us in South America. They're really the only major player in South America that's aligned with us. Unfortunately, we've seen what's happened in Venezuela. We see it in Colombia. We have a leader in Chile that is not a friend to the United States. Argentina and Paraguay are about the two countries that literally are fighting for freedom and democracy. However, we
Do we
always
really
need
care
to
if
focus
they're a
on America
democracy or
first.
not? Do we really care if they're a democracy or not?
Oh, without a doubt.
I mean, is
think it's
anybody in
extremely
Donovan's
important.
life different if they're a democracy or a dictatorship? How does that help an old boy in Naylor?
It affects people in our hemisphere, and you want to make sure that our hemisphere is protected and our hemisphere is saved. Our first priority, though, Scott, without a doubt, is America. And that's what I said all along: is American beef is American first. And a lot of people were shocked that I was very public about going in a different direction, but it was the right direction, and it's what was right for America.
Let's talk about a little Southeast Missouri stuff. I was over at This Week in Missouri Politics. We filmed it last week down at Southeast Missouri State University. New president, President Hobson. he seems to be a ball of fire. I tell you what, it's interesting to watch someone interact with folks. And I watched him go up and approach students while we were setting up and just ask, how you doing? Need anything? Settling in? I kind of I feel a little sense of optimism. Some of the innovative programs they're bringing to aviation, computer, cyber warfare. I'm not sure how you say it, but trying to keep the defend against cyber. I guess cybersecurity is how they'd phrase it. I'm pretty optimistic about SEMO right now.
I absolutely am as well. SEMO definitely had a strong showing against the Missouri Tigers.
I'll tell you,
in the
bounce
basketball
like
game
one.
last Friday. So, I mean, to be paying Southeast Missouri to play with them to get a close, almost beaten, that's not a good thing to do. But super proud of Southeast Missouri and the new president there. I've met with him a couple times. Super impressed with his vision and how he's going to lead the institution. I think that we can only grow both of our major universities in Southeast Missouri, whether it's SEMO or whether it's Missouri S&T in Rolla. Those are two institutions to be extremely proud of.
Boy, isn't S&T a hidden gem? I don't think the people of this state have any idea what an amazing institution they have at Missouri S&T.
Just the research and the patents and the discoveries that they have on so many fronts affects all of our lives every day. But it's the best engineering school in the nation. And out of all the schools in the state of Missouri, a graduate from the engineering program there will have a higher salary beginning than any other school.
All right, you talk to the president all the time. The state of Missouri did something that I honestly am not sure I thought. We're in an age where there's so much fighting and all social media noise. Rebuilding I-70 is one of the most significant public works projects for the middle part of the United States, much less Missouri. But now that that's on the road to being done, and there's evidence, trust me, there's evidence any place on 70 right now. When you go on 70, you better take some time because the road construction's real. But the next big part for our state, the next big project is a nuclear reactor at Mizzou. I know you've been there. I know you've seen it. Are you able to communicate that to the president? It's going to take federal money. I don't think there's any way the state of Missouri can do this. It is a project important to the United States of America, right here in the heartland. That's your alma mater. Are you able to deliver a message to the president? This needs to be done.
We've had numerous conversations. You're exactly right. The nuclear reactor there at University of Missouri is critical to our security here in the United States and also for our supply chains. It will have to take some federal dollars.
Sure.
There's no question about it. I've been working with the University of Missouri, the Department of the Energy, in finding resources and also thinking outside of the box. Maybe there's some tax perspectives that we could look at that could help incentivize the growth there. But not only the nuclear reactor, Scott, I would like to say that infrastructure altogether, I think, is extremely crucial. The fact that we don't have a 4-lane interstate that goes from Iowa to Arkansas is absolutely horrendous. And that's why 63, that's in the middle of this state, there is no question it can't be 4 lanes. And we have to figure out a way to make it 4 lanes. 67 out of Poplar Bluff, they taxed themselves. They created a mechanism to help leverage the federal dollars to bring more money in, which has done a masterful job for economic development there in off of 67 and off of 60. But we need to do that on 63 as well.
Boy, it seems like I drive that ever so often, probably not quite as much as you do, but it seems like there is there's an outline of what to do once you get south of Rolla. They have a lot of passing lanes and what have you. It just seems like the bottleneck is between Rolla and the bridge there. You got about 40 miles of just so many towns are stacked right on. If you don't think highways bring economic development, drive 63 from the bridge to Rolla. It just feels like there's going to have to almost build a parallel highway, right? Because it's just, you got Vichy, Vienna, Freiburg, Westphalia. It seems like a huge priority for the state. What are you able to do to get the state focused on that 63 corridor besides just magnify what Carl Esslinger preached for 4 solid years up here?
I've been working with our state lawmakers, but also with the governor extensively, talking about the improvement for infrastructure all over the state, including Highway 63.
He could get to his ranch a
Whenever
little quicker with a 4-lane 63. I mean, that's.
he would, and you would think that, we had a governor from Rolla, Mel Carnahan,
Yeah.
that why couldn't we have done it during that time frame? But it's just maddening that we don't have 4 lanes from Iowa to Arkansas there in 63. We have it in numerous different areas, but not not all together, So we just have to look at all different angles, and it's not going to be easy, but I think that if people have a mission to deliver on it, they'll be able to do it. I think about Van Buren. Look at the tax revenues that Van Buren gets because of the 4-lane Highway
Yep.
60. Like their revenues changed drastically whenever that improvement of infrastructure there. And you saw all the investment that happened. And that's what would happen from Jefferson City to Rolla to West Plains. And I think that's in Kirksville. So that's super important.
When you were in the legislature, Mizzou felt to me like it was trending down. By the time you left the legislature, it really started to bottom out. What a difference. Just during your time in Congress, which, golly, if you'd asked me, is Jason Smith new to Congress, I think I'd have said yes. But you've been in Congress some time now. Just take the time you've been in Congress from when you first went to Washington to today, the amazing improvements at the University of Missouri.
We've had some tough times at the University of Missouri, some that we weren't too proud of, but the university has rebounded
Yes.
immensely. They are recognized and noticed all over the world.
Yeah.
It was so great that I was traveling on a trade delegation not too long ago. It was probably 6 months ago, and I turn on the TV in this foreign country, and there's Missouri football, a rerun playing. I was like, you cannot make this up. How great is this? But look at just the sports programs alone has showed a lot of recognition. Whether it's football, whether it's basketball, whether it's baseball, wrestling. They're competing in the SEC, which is supposed to be, and I believe is the best conference in
Sure.
all of the country. But we're definitely a player. But our educational rewards is phenomenal. The number one journalism school in the nation, the business school, and the ag school, which I went to.
Yeah.
Super proud to say that I'm alumni of both of them.
I just think I really think a project like this nuclear reactor, without the renaissance really of the last 8 to 10 years at Mizzou, I don't think in 2015 you could have credibly said, let's give Mizzou $1 billion or whatever it's going to cost for this reactor. I don't think anybody would have said for it. They might have put it in Springfield or something, but I just don't think. I think Mizzou is so much easier to advocate for because of the progress and the change of this renaissance of Mizzou.
It's exactly right. And I'm thankful that we have a very good delegation, that we're all able to work together on behalf of the University of
Yeah.
Missouri, because it affects all of us, regardless of where your congressional district in the state of Missouri. We have the Delta Center, for example, down in the Boot Hill. The research and
Mhm.
development that happens in the Delta at the Delta Center from the University of Missouri is so beneficial to our soybean farmers and our cotton and rice and corn. So it has a huge economic impact of what's being done there at that university.
Congressman, I don't want to keep you any longer. I very much appreciate your time. I just want to ask you one more question before I do. I want to thank our sponsors, the United Fiber up in the Great Northwest, as former Senator Hageman would say, Mocan Trade Association. Every product grown, tested, manufactured, sold right here in the great state of Missouri, in the courtyard by Marriott. If you really care about somebody in Jeff City, when they come to town, you're going to put them up there. Congressman, take me inside. But going back to the shutdown. You have a very slim majority in a chamber that's really not made for slim majorities. How did you get the CR passed the first time when it feels like I watched this? You'll recall when Nixon was governor, when the veto sessions would occur, every rep became a senator, right? Every rep could block anything, could get deals. How did you move this through the first time? And do you think you'll be any problems moving this through Congress tomorrow? Because you do have a razor thin majority.
You're exactly right. We have an extremely razor thin majority. 218 seats is the majority. We currently have 219. So that tells you exactly how razor thin it is. It's why we have to thread the needle at every approach. When we were trying to pass the big beautiful bill, threading the needle, knowing that you could only lose two members in order to pass it, and one you were guaranteed to lose, the congressman from Kentucky, so you could actually truly only
Yeah.
lose one. Um, and just balancing that, that's what we had to do on the continuing resolution. But I will tell you that the best whip that we have in all of the House of Representatives is Donald Trump, who's at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And I can tell you that during the big, beautiful bill, there was some holdouts. I was on the phone with him talking about the different holdouts, and they ended up being yeses quite quickly. So
He seems to have a way with
that
folks.
has been very helpful. He definitely does, and I appreciate that we have a president, an executive that's probably the most engaging. I can tell you, Scott, that during the big beautiful bill, it was not unusual for him to call me or for me to wake up to a text message at 5:30 in the morning from him that he sent at roughly 2:30 in the morning with a different idea in the tax code or something that I should be looking at or paying attention to. He's always thinking, he's always coming up with a different idea or a different strategy.
That's awesome. Congressman Jason Smith, thank you so much for the time. We very much appreciate it.
Always good to be with you, Scott. Thank you.
Safe travels. You know, it is kind of cool as a person who's spent a lot of time in Salem to think a guy from Salem, Missouri, which if you have not been to Salem, is Salem 5,000 people? If it is, it ain't six. I'm not sure it's even five. It might be. I don't want to shortchange Angie Curley's hometown. Um, but to think a guy from Salem's text messaging the President of the United States and in the very key position he's in Congress.
Yeah, I mean, it really is kind of growing up a small town. You could never really imagine that sort of thing, and then
Yeah.
somebody
And
down the
Jason
street ends
Smith,
up doing it.
Don't kid yourself. I actually have met his family. Jason Smith did not grow up like the three rich people in Salem. He was not the kinfolks of the town and country supermarket owner. Jason Smith grew up in a solid family, but there's humble background, and has made some of himself by busting his ass. And it is cool to see him, running in those circles, knowing that he came from Salem. There's a picture of him. It's kind of cool. I wish if I'd remembered, Kelton, I'd have sent it to you. Put it up. But the Godfather's Pizza buffet, I think it's Godfather's, has a buffet pizza thing in Salem. And at the opening, they have a picture of then State Rep Jason Smith with the Godfather mascot, and it is kind of neat, and it's got to be neat for him. A lot of folks, when they say I'm from Salem, they say, "Oh yeah, that's where Jason Smith's from."
Yeah.
It's a cool thing, We gotta go. We got checking the text or become more. Got my man Madison, 4,726. See, I thought it was around 5. I didn't think it was quite 5. I knew it wasn't 6. But they do have a Walmart, so that's kind of how you chart it.
Civilization. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of how you chart things in rural Missouri. It's a great place because they have a Walmart, but they don't have a Starbucks. So it's good people, at least that I know of. Casey has not made me go to one there if they do have it. But Gussie has made me visit the McDonald's there on the right if you're leaving town.
Yeah.
Many times on the north side of the road. I do think we've brought this up a couple times. I think the shutdown, yes, in politics there's winners and losers. I think the Republican narrative on the shutdown is taking hold. Right, wrong, indifferent, whatever people think of it. I do think objectively, from sitting back and looking, the Republican side of this has won. I also don't know exactly why the Democrats. I followed this a little bit, especially this last weekend in preparation for this week. I mean, I understand they wanted something for Obamacare, but it kind of seems like, this wasn't the way to get it.
I think that I take a different opinion. I think that the shutdowns always negatively hurt Republicans. Now, whether we can say that the example or the culmination of that was the recent elections where you had Virginia go back to being a Democrat governor, where you had New Jersey go back to being a Democrat governor, maybe to some extent Zohran Mamdani's election as the mayor of New York. I think Republicans usually always get the brunt of shutdowns because sometimes they come off as anti-state or anti-government too much rather than limited government. But yeah, I think we'll have to see maybe if that holds on later towards the midterms. But midterms usually negatively
I don't
always
think anybody
affect.
will remember any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Do you really? I don't think anybody will remember any of this come election time.
Yeah, I think Democrats will still do fairly well in the midterms because midterms usually always benefit the party in opposition.
I totally agree with you, except I will say sometimes Trump has a way of defying gravity.
It's true.
There's a way he is able to do things that he should not be able to do. But we'll see. I mean, that's the kind of the cool thing about politics is who the hell knows.
Yeah.
But it was very, very kind of Congressman Smith. Kelton, we may have a scheduling change. We may have to adjust the time tomorrow for Congressman Bell because he'll be in Washington, D.C. Voting on this. So keep up with our social media accounts. Kelton, when we know, can we tell folks on the internet?
I'll get it out there.
All right, Kelton. Now we need to talk to you. All right, so Mizzou is what, 6-3 now?
Yes.
I need some predictions here. It was a bad break for the 19-year-old true freshman quarterback's first game he starts to be against the number 3 team in the country, right? That's a bad break.
I think they said that he was at his senior prom in May, and now he's playing the number 3 team in the nation at home.
And he looked like a freshman, right?
He did okay.
But he looked like a freshman playing the number 3 team in the country.
Yeah, that was a bad
I think
break.
the okay part was that, I mean, the Mizzou does have a good running game.
That they just forget to use sometimes.
It does feel like those pages in the playbook don't always come up. All right, tell me, what's going to be our final? Are we going to be an 8-4 team?
I think it's possible.
All right, what do you think it's going to be then?
I think 8-4 is a good prediction.
I'm thinking we beat Mississippi State and Arkansas,
Yes.
and we lose on the road to Oklahoma.
That would be my exact prediction.
All right, what do you think?
Asking me for sports advice is like asking Bernie Madoff for financial advice. I'm just going to kind of BS to you a little bit. So I'm going to go with Kelton because I'm assuming he's got that sports book up in his office right now.
Although he's always a homer. So the fact that
That's
Kelton
true.
thinks Mizzou might lose a game on the road to a ranked team in Oklahoma, the fact he would even admit that's possible,
Yeah.
I'm kind of with. All right, give me a prediction. What bowl game are they in?
Oh, man. They might be going back to the Pinstripe Bowl at this point.
I'm going to drop you a prediction. I think we go to the Music City Bowl in Nashville.
That's a definite possibility.
I'm not gonna trouble you with the question.
I'll just say whatever you said.
Yeah, and also I really enjoyed Nashville last year. That was a lot of fun. I could do Nashville. The Liberty Bowl with Memphis is fun. Except it's New Year's Eve.
Ooh, yeah, I wouldn't want to be in Memphis on New Year's Eve.
Well, I mean, to me, it's two different things. Like bowl game trip is fun. The ideal, I'll tell you, Missouri, the ideal time to have, because leading up to Christmas, you have Christmas parties, right? And also, I'm not traveling somewhere the 23rd and trying to fly back the 24th, because what if something happens, right? I'm not in for that.
Yeah.
A pre-Christmas bowl game sucks. The 26th, I'm not. The fun of the bowl game is the night before and the party. 26th, the primo time for the bowl game is the 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th. Those are the 4 premium days for a bowl game. Or you want to say, okay, New Year's Day, the 2nd. Sometimes they have them kind of Kelton. I don't know, it's like next Saturday or something. I'm for those. But your primo number 1 top ticket bowl date, if you're not going to go to the playoffs and all this other stuff, your premium date, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th.
Yeah.
4 days. Those are your premium bowl games. And if you do a New Year's Eve and it's Nashville, Memphis, okay, it's a lot more expensive, right? Because to me, you could do something fun here on New Year's Eve, and the bowl trip be fun.
Yeah.
Trying to combine those two is a lot.
Like New Year's Eve, you could be here at High Street Pub.
Exactly.
Like,
Carl,
why would you
appreciate
not
your
want to be
patronage.
anywhere else?
Well, yeah, and sometimes Ashley Bax might even sing, so I mean it'll be crowded. And no, but I will tell you, those are the 4 premium days. If you're not going to if you're going to the Cotton Bowl or something, that's a whole different kettle of fish. But if you're just playing in a bowl game, like a consolation, I guess you'd call them now, bowl game, Those are the 4 primo dates. Kelton, are you against my Music City pick?
I think that's a good pick. I like that
See,
one.
because it's like the 30th or something. So really, you do the 29th build up. That day's the game. That night you party. You're going home New Year's Eve, right? Everybody else is coming in. You're going the other way. That's where I think you want to be. Plus, if you get back in time for 4. I mean, when's the New Year's Eve party start? 9. It's not a normal party.
Yeah, it's usually about 9.
So if you got back at 4 or 5, a little nap, a little shower, boom, you're at the party.
Yep.
I think that is your number one way.
And you've already pre-gamed at the football game.
Exactly. You're ready to rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a little hungover, but you can rally. Then New Year's Day, you beat the hog jowl and the hair of the dog, and you're good to go. So tomorrow, very, very grateful. I want to, seriously, it is not an easy thing to do for a member of Congress in a shutdown. It's a little easier. Not in a shutdown. As the government's reopening and as they're being called to Washington, I want to thank Congressman Onder. I want to thank Congressman Smith. I want to thank Congressman Bell and Congressman Graves. We like to have a good time, especially here on the Daily, but I do not take it lightly. The fact that so many leaders from the state of Missouri come and visit with us and share their views. I also don't take it lightly when folks text us a thought. If you've got a question for Congressman Bell or Congressman Graves, you can fire one to me, 573-429-5770. You can direct message me on social media. I'm a little slower on those. I actually don't mind if you text me, as long as you don't mind if I take a second to get back to you. We did a little construction, so I've kind of had stain and stuff on my hands. Couldn't quite be as quick as I wanted to be. But seriously, I honestly do want to thank the members of Congress. I know they are not just burdened with tons of free time right now, and it means a lot to us that they make the time to do this. We will see you tomorrow. I don't know exactly the time yet. We're going to plan on 10, and we're going to play it by ear with Congressman Bell is being very gracious in giving us his time, especially on the day of the vote. So I want to thank him in advance, and his team have been terrific to work with. We will work with them, and if we have to adjust the date or move the actual day, we will let you know what that looks like as soon as we know on the social medias. Until then, thank you very much. This week in Missouri Politics Daily Edition. Jake, appreciate the time.
Oh, of course.
We'll call Aaron on assignment. Aaron got off today. What's that about?
She probably getting another gift from some place she never visited.
You know, I really thought Jay Hahn would be like a taskmaster, like a, no, you, Mr. Cratchit, you could not have one more half a piece of coal. What are you talking? What is this? But no, they get off all these holidays. I don't know what that's about.
It's kind of a scam, I think.
I'm telling you. Geez.
Pretty soon we're gonna get off on holidays.
The hell we are. Who told you that? Seriously, though, Veterans Day, very special day. Shout out to my Uncle Ray Dugal, who fought in Vietnam. My grandfather fought in the Korean War. Shout out to all the veterans. Thank you so much for everything. And we will see you tomorrow at some point with Congressman Bell here on This Week in Missouri Politics Daily Edition.